You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And, you know, we try to celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Sometimes there's things of excitement. Sometimes, you know, it
is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Today's National Kite Flying Day. I don't know. When I was a kid, we used to go out flying kites. The problem was, as you may have noticed, I am a bit oversized. And, to go running down the street with a kite, my vertical leap is maybe tiptoes. So it's not like I was going to get the kite up in the air just by my running down the street. So I did import quite a few kites. So we're getting Kite Flying Day. Let's take a look and see what the markets are doing. Dow down 175. The S&P 500 down almost 40. NASDAQ down 171. Oil is up 57 cents a barrel. Hey, we might need oil for another decade. That's what the president told us last night. If you were able to listen, probably needed some Tums or Rolaids to go through that with him. Now, it did fascinate me listening to the State of the Union last night, just a little bit that I could handle. But let's take a look at gas prices before we get there. Gasoline, $4.62 a gallon here in the formerly Golden State. We haven't done this in a while, Josh. You're over $4 now, $4.06 in Nevada. Jody's at $3.49, and Brittany's at $3.94. And I'm sure, Lori's down at $3.17, our tremendous underwriter, $3.70. $3.44 is the national average. Do we want to talk about the State of the Union last night? I can always have some fun with some of these things. So, it didn't take the president more than about 2 minutes to get into his first gaffe of the night when he referred to Mitch McConnell as the leader of the Senate. Yeah, he's the minority leader. He's not the leader of the Senate. That would be Chuck Schumer, Mr. President. We also got to hear from the president telling us this is a great one. I gotta love this one. So the president actually told us last night that there were job cuts. Now, are you ready for this? Josh, I don't know if you heard this. I know that you might have had more trouble, staying awake than in listening to the State of the Union. But I don't know about you. My cell phone, the president told us that cell phones and refrigerators were laid off. How you lay off a cell phone or a refrigerator, but that was part of the discussion last night. And I do have a copy right here of an op-ed from the Washington Post. This was a fascinating one because Stephen Moore Sunday sent an op-ed to the New York Post, Washington Post. That's Jeff Bezos. He wouldn't put something like this in there. So Stephen Moore, op-ed, New York Post, 6 lies Biden will tell in a State of the Union. He's reduced the budget deficit by $1.4 trillion. Okay, is that a lie or misleading us? So the fact of the matter is 1.4 trillion is actually the amount of expired COVID relief funds. So he didn't really do anything. They just expired naturally. He inherited an economy in free fall. Really? Well, if you remember, the vaccine was announced right the week after the election. The economy was growing about 10% when the president took office. So I don't know about that one. Inflation was high when Biden entered office. 1.9%. That's high, Mr. President. Biden has brought down gas prices. Now, he told us that he didn't have anything to do with them going up dramatically, but he brought them down. Okay, so it's like saying, last year I lost 40 pounds. This year I lost 20 pounds. So, I did better by 20. Last year I gained 40. This year I gained 20. So I didn't gain this, whatever. You get the idea. But the bottom line, yeah, they went way up based on him. And he was upset that the oil industry doesn't want to reinvest in energy in the United States. Well, the president said we're getting rid of the oil companies. Why would they want to reinvest? Well, then last night he says, well, we're going to need them for another 10 years. Well, it takes 5 years to get anything going. So why would they reinvest, Mr. President? You need to understand these things. He's doing all he can do to secure the border. Well, it would be pretty simple. All he has to do is revert to Trump's policies. That would be very simple because the border was secure then. Biden is increasing domestic oil and gas production. Really? I wonder for whom? The only border that he's securing, I should go back to that one. The only border he's working on doing any security work on is Ukraine. It's not our border. Unbelievable. But, those are just a few of the highlights from the president's speech last night. I did enjoy the idea of listening to Sarah Sanders. Did you hear Sarah Huckabee Sanders' response? Fascinating. I mean, she did a way better job than the president did. I don't like, you go to a speech and someone starts yelling at you. Is that the way you really want to do it? Well, Sarah Sanders came up and said, and I guess I'm right square in the middle. So she's the youngest governor, first female in Arkansas, age 40. The president, age 80, and he's the oldest president in history. And I like the idea. She said we need some younger blood. Now, I don't know about too much younger. I like younger blood, but here's the issue is you do need experience. So think about this. I mean, Mayor Pete is younger. Would we like Mayor Pete to be president? I think we know the answer. Pretty simple right there. So we want somebody with experience. So they've been around, they've seen what's going on. They know, maybe they know that they should put a weather balloon that happens to go over all of our military bases. Yeah, you may not want to let that happen. I'm just throwing that out there. But, you need now the 80-year-old didn't figure that out. And think about the weather balloon. Think about this one. The president gives the order to bring it down, supposedly. And the military says, no, sir, we shouldn't do that. And they don't. Isn't he the president? Isn't he the one that gives the orders, or is it the generals that give the orders? I'm just throwing that out there for you. It is a question mark. So we're going to continue our conversations on this, but we're going to get into our subject. I'm not sure, but I think I hear Lucas Smith coming up the corridor. We're going to talk to him when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Number of homes for sale up from last year, but below pre-pandemic years. How your credit card can help you navigate bumps in your travel plans. Yeah, the president talked about that one as well last night. Well, I got to get into that too. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime. At 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. You know, I'm going to throw this one thing out there, and it's kind of gotten to be it's a sad state of affairs, but once again, it is what it is. And we're sitting here with Lucas Smith, and he came in during the commercial, and Lucas made a comment, and I'm not going to share what the comment is, but I'm going to go through. You know, I'm going to say my wife says to me, I listen to way too much politics. She can't handle it. She doesn't like it. Doesn't enjoy that stuff. And I can understand that. You may be the same way, and you know, you usually get to a State of the Union, and it's a big, big event that, you know, we should look forward to. We should want to understand what's going on. You know, my wife, I think, went and watched reruns of Friends in the other room. One of my sons, I think he was watching 2.5 Men. And it's a shame that people don't want to watch these things because they just don't trust what politicians say, either side of the aisle. You know, and it is a real shame. But let's get to the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. S&P 500 now down 39 points. Every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry. Calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. 30-year conforming rates up 6.263. 30-year jumbo up 6.19. 30-year FHA up 6.173. 30-year USDA up 6.21. 30-year VA loans. It's the best loan on the market for those that earned it. Up 5.926. Again, this doesn't tell us anything about how many points might have been paid to buy these rates down. Doesn't get into that right there. So we're not going to share that with you because it doesn't tell us that. We just give you the raw numbers. If you want more information on how that works, just give me a call. The 10-year Treasury's down 1 basis point. Big news coming out about 10 o'clock our time because there's going to be a Treasury auction. Mortgage-backed securities are up 6 basis points, which means the interest rates there are down very, very little. But there is good news coming out of CoreLogic. They released their home price index for December, showing that home prices declined 0.4% nationwide, but are still up 6.9% from this time last year. 6.9 on a national level. Now realize we get spoiled here in Southern California because we expect our home values to go up between 5 and 6% every year based on history. Normally, it's 3 to 4% nationwide, so it's 6.9. That's a pretty good number. CoreLogic forecasts that home prices will decline 0.2% in January, but will increase 3% in the year going forward. So that's more of a normal number. In total, CoreLogic reported that home prices have only declined 3% from their peak. Does that sound like a bubble to you? And this comes after 121 months of straight gains in home prices. 121 months. If I do my math correctly, that's just a little over 10 years of prices going up every single month. So it came back by a few percent from the peak. And again, they're looking at home prices rising 3% in 2023. Big for wealth creation. If you want to understand more about wealth creation, give me a call, 800-306-1990. We're going to actually be doing some seminars on that. We're working on a few different seminars. We're going to be working on, and make sure you watch and listen to our broadcast, our socials. So we've got senior seminars coming up. We're going to be talking about Social Security, Medicare, getting some equity out of your house if you need to pay some bills. We'll talk about that. We're also going to be doing quarterly wealth building seminars. So those are all coming up. And obviously, the other part that we didn't talk about yet is Fed Chair Powell spoke yesterday and had some interesting comments, but nothing groundbreaking. The reality, quote, the reality is we're going to react to the data, but they get false data. So if we continue to get, for example, strong labor market reports or higher inflation reports, it may be well the case that we have to do more and raise rates more than is priced in, unquote. The jobs data that came out for January was surprising, right? Because it was fake. I told you where the fake numbers came in from, adding 2.5 million jobs from seasonal adjustments to the BLS report. It's just a BS report, I think. And adding 810,000 jobs to the household survey because of population control. The disinflationary process begun noting progress, especially in the price of goods. However, price gains within the service sector remain high, said housing. Again, then that's from Powell. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You got the phone. Well, unless you laid yours off like the president did. That's just a bottom line. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. Lucas Smith is with us. Let me get into the. We're going to use the rest of the segment telling you this company's name is Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty Premier.
Right. Now in partnership with the Ron Siegel lending team at Geneva Financial. You have to say the whole thing so it takes the rest of the show, Ron.
Okay. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio. Josh, we might have to go to commercial after all that. Good morning, Lucas.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. So, real estate, building wealth in real estate.
Best way. More millionaires are made in the U.S., period, through wealth building and real estate.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, where else? Number one, what else are you going to do that's going to leverage your money like real estate?
Well, and realistically, are you going to just work your 9-to-5 job to get there?
So I'm going to tell you this, my belief. You can tell me that I'm wrong. Most people do. Many people do.
Mindy mostly does.
Always. So there's only two ways to make money in this country. You can make money off of your back,
right?
Or get your money to make money for you,
right?
Right. If there's another way,
you can work for it or leverage it.
If there's another way, just put it in the chat. Let me know. But I like the idea of getting my money to do the work for me instead of me. Makes sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So buying real estate is, I had this conversation with somebody yesterday, and they're looking at buying a house in the Coachella Valley. And we were talking about this concept of they have a house in Los Angeles, and they've got an unbelievable interest rate. They've got a huge amount of equity, 75% equity in the property, and they could rent it out and 3x their mortgage payment. So I said, you've got two options here, because they're thinking about selling so they can buy for a lower amount in the Coachella Valley. But buying a $1.75 million house in the Coachella Valley. And I said, here's the issue. If you sell your house and get the money you want for it, you win based on what your desires are. I said, yes. If you don't sell your house, the downside is you end up getting, I think it was like $7,500 a month in free cash flow.
So wait, stop. As a real estate broker, anytime you can keep your house and make more money off it than you're paying for it, do that.
$7,500 more.
Do that.
Right?
If I was sitting at their house talking about listing their home, that's what I would tell them to do, because that's service.
Right. And it's more than just service. It's actually, you get paid for giving advice.
Right.
And it generates more long-term goodwill when you give the right advice.
Correct.
Right. You're not going out there just looking to say, okay, you want to list this property for $2 million. I'd love to list it for $2 million. Right.
And I would.
But that's not the right answer.
But right, whether I would love to do that or not, that serves me, not them.
Correct.
Right. And when we focus on serving people and focus on what their best interest is,
you win.
You win.
Everybody
wins.
Everybody
wins at that point. Period.
So the bottom line here is, so now think about that. So they were going to sell the $2 million property. Now, if they keep the $2 million property, and they acquire a $1.75 million property. I don't know the exact numbers, but they'd probably be very close to a break even on their mortgage for both. Right? So you've got $7,500 free cash on one. You know, your payments
Pays the mortgage on the other
it'll
one.
probably come
roughly.
close to paying the mortgage
Yep.
on the other one. Give or take. I don't know the exact numbers. I'm not getting into that part of it. But the bottom line is now you've got $3.75 million of equity that you're holding on to.
Oh, I know the answer. And you just said it's going up an average of 6.9% annually.
Right.
Times 6.9%.
I can't do that math. I'm going to do 5%. It's about $280,000
Something like that. Yeah.
in appreciation. Now
Annually.
let's think about this. $280,000 a year of appreciation. In most households, that's probably more than the annual household income.
Yep. Oh, way more than yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're obviously, if you've got a $2 million house already, you're probably in a higher income bracket than the average household income.
Certainly.
Right? So the bottom line here is adding another $280,000 to household net worth on an annual basis and multiplying, right?
Worst case, your kids get it.
Right.
Worst case, Ron. Right.
Yeah, it's just the bottom line. I mean, it's just cumulative, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's you know, because that now you've got now you got $4 million in property, so you're gonna get another couple $100,000,
Right.
right? It's gonna continue to go up,
Yeah.
right? It's just the bottom line here is it makes sense to do these things. That's how you're building wealth.
If it makes financial sense to the customer with both payments, all of those numbers, absolutely 100 every day.
Build wealth.
Build wealth.
That's what we're talking about here. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. More with Lucas Smith when we come back. Number of homes for sale up from last year, but below pre-pandemic limits. And let's see how your credit card can help you navigate bumps in your travel plans. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily Home and Finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule an appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, the real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Number of homes for sale up from last year, but below pre-pandemic years. The biggest challenge in the housing market right now, and likely for years to come, is how few homes there are for sale compared to the number of people who want to buy. That's why if you're thinking about selling your house, this is a great time to do so. Your house would be welcome in a market that has fewer homes for sale than it did in the years leading up to the pandemic. According to the latest monthly housing market trends report from Realtor.com, quote, there were 65.5% more homes for sale in January compared to the same time in 2022. This means that there were 248,000 more homes available by this past month compared to a year ago. While the number of homes for sale is increasing, it is still 43.2% lower than it was before the pandemic in 2017, to 2019. This means there are still fewer homes available to buy on a typical day than there were a few years ago, unquote. If you are watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, we've got a chart for you. We like charts. Active monthly listings, 2018, last 6 Januaries. 1,042,000 in 18, 1,001,000 in 19, 953,000 in 2020. 21, we had 522,000. 22, we had 378,000. 23, 625,000. Still way below all those other numbers. What does this mean for you? Fewer homes for sale means buyers have fewer choices than they did prior to the pandemic, and that frustration is leading some to give up on the home buying process altogether. But with mortgage rates sitting lower than they were at the peak last fall, more buyers are willing to come back into the process. They just need to find homes to buy. This is welcome activity for the spring market, especially if you're thinking of selling your house. With a renewed interest in buying a home for many, the New York Times reports, quote, home buyers are edging back into the market after being sidelined last year, unquote. They weren't sidelined because they wanted to. So if you want to take advantage of a sweet spot in the market, this spring could be your shot. If you want to get our copy of our free home buyer's guide, rsrhbg.com, rsrhbg.com. Bottom line, the housing market needs more homes for sale to meet the demand of today's buyers. If you thought about selling, now's the time for us to connect. Give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or borrow on real estate, can I count on you for that introduction? Give them my number. Do a 3-way call. Just you, them, put it like a text, 3-way text. Right? Pretty simple stuff. I know we don't like to call and talk to people anymore. We like texting. And hey, we've got all kinds of numbers for texting. So set that up and we'll get on it. And that is the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Lucas Smith is with us. We're chatting about building wealth in real estate. You know, last night was a big night if you're into basketball. I'm not a big LeBron James fan. I have my own opinions there. But let's go from the real estate standpoint. Jack Kent Cook, one of the early owners of the Lakers, Los Angeles Lakers. I think he made like the vast majority of his money before he bought the Lakers and the Forum and the Kings and the Washington Redskins. Made his money in real estate. Jerry Buss, right, made his money in real estate.
Well, he played a little ball too.
Right, but I mean,
made his real money in real estate.
Real money was in real estate.
Yep.
Right. Why is Bill Gates buying all this real estate? Well, we're not going to go there, but like he made a lot of money in stock, but he's putting money in real estate. Right. Warren Buffett obviously likes real estate. He bought a real estate firm.
China is buying lots of real estate in the U.S. Good investment.
Wonder why?
Yeah.
Right. It's because it's a sound investment. You know, right now I'm looking at the markets, and you know I've been involved in the markets for my whole life. I've invested in the stock market. I had my licenses at Merrill Lynch, and you look back, and I'm just gonna pull up a chart of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and I'm going to put it up here. I don't know how far back it's going to go, all the way back to 1980. And you can see that it goes up and it goes down. And, you know, the issue is the only time I'm going to tell you that real estate is probably not a good investment is if you've got a very, very short-term time horizon.
Correct.
Right? That's probably the only time.
The only time.
Right. Other than that, I mean, I look, the stock market's up 300 points today, or 100, it's down to 132 points. Sorry. It's down 132 points. I get a message from one of my brokerage accounts every time the market moves 1%. It's almost every day.
Yeah. And Ron, let's face it, right? Even if you're doing a short-term living situation, the long-term investment from buying the real estate, living in it, and renting it later is still a better option.
As long as if you can afford to hold it.
If you can afford to hold it.
Right. If you don't need that money to go and buy the property that you're going to live in. Or here's the other side of it. Now, we are spoiled. I'm going to tell you right off that we're in Southern California and we are spoiled.
Yep.
I have a friend of mine that was in Ohio, and he, owned a big grocery chain in Ohio. And he said, Ron, you don't understand. He said, in Ohio, we buy our house to live in it. It's not an investment because 10 or 15 years after we live in it, we're going to sell it and it's going to be just about the exact same price we paid for it. That's not us.
No.
Right? Those of you, and I'm going to go out on a limb here because it's my show and I can. Right? If you follow Dave Ramsey, and you should not, but he works out of Eastern Tennessee. Right? If you buy a property in Eastern Tennessee, you can pay cash for a property in Eastern Tennessee for just about the same as your down payment is in California.
Correct.
Right? So we're not getting apples and apples there from an investment standpoint.
Right. Yeah. No, it's 5-10 times more money.
Right. I mean, you're looking at $1,067,000 as our median home price in Orange County, California, as of this morning. I have it right on my screen right now. $1,067,000.
Eastern Tennessee is like 230 or 240.
Right. And it's gone up dramatically lately.
And that's way up. No. It was in the mid hundreds for a long, long time.
So now here's the issue, because Lucas, you just made a great point there. So if it's in the 230s, you say now.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. And I don't know the numbers.
230s, 250s on average.
You know it much better than me. I like I say,
I have friends there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not what my point here is, it's gone up dramatically lately.
Yep.
Now, what have we learned in Austin, Texas? That which goes up dramatically can come down dramatically.
Correct.
Right? So I'm looking at the 63-year history just because I can. Wild guess of what home prices appreciate in Knox County, Tennessee. Wild guess over the last 63 years what the average annual appreciation is.
3%.
3.27.
Okay.
Right? Now, is that good or bad?
It's the national average, Ron, so it was an easy guess, but
here's the issue. Is it good or bad? Now, the stock market goes up about 8% a year. Right? If you're looking at just the Dow over a long period of time, you're going to probably say it goes up about 8%, give or take a year. When we used to do forecasting, we used to just forecast that stocks are going to go up 10%, bonds are going to go up 5%, and cash is not going to really go up a lot.
Cash is going to go down.
Right. Well, it's inflation. Your interest in the bank is not going to get you there.
Correct.
But let's do a little math here, Lucas. So we've got $100,000 stock portfolio for the most part. If it's in our retirement fund, what is it going to cost us to buy a $100,000 stock portfolio? $100,000.
$100,000.
Pretty simple, right? That's going to go up at 3.27%. I'm going to say 3% because
it's easy.
The math is easy.
Yep.
So that's going to gain $3,000 a year.
Yep.
Now, if I buy a $100,000 house in Knoxville, Tennessee, I could probably buy that easily. I could put 10% down and buy that house. I mean, FHA, we can go 3.5% or
10%, whatever.
10% down. If that house appreciates at 3.27%, actually, I did that wrong because the Dow, we should have done at 8%. So that would have been $8,000 on $100,000. Right. Now we're going to do 3% on the real estate.
Okay.
That's going to go up $3,000.
Okay.
$3,000 on a $10,000 cash is a 30% return on our money.
Okay.
Versus 8% return the other way.
Right. Agreed.
Now, does that mean if I'm doing my math correctly, I could have bought 10 $100,000 houses.
Correct.
At 10%, and now I've got $30,000 in appreciation.
Correct.
For the same exact cash outflow.
Correct. And you were a Merrill Lynch broker, as you mentioned, right?
Right.
How many people did you sell stocks to that lived in their stock portfolio?
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot. It's
hard to do. The only time you can do that is if you've got dogs and the company goes out of business and you can take the stock certificates and kind of make a tent out of it.
Yeah,
right?
Then you could do that. Yeah.
Right. But the bottom line is 30% return on your cash versus 8% return on your cash.
Yeah.
Which way you better off,
Oh, I'm going to go with the investment in real estate every day.
right? Even in an
Every
area,
day.
even in an area that does not appreciate like we do in Southern California.
It doesn't have to.
Real estate investing is a great, great resource for you. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, how your credit card can help you navigate bumps in your travel plans. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It's wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solutions for you. How your credit card can help you navigate bumps in your travel plans. This is another issue right here, and I'm not going to, I will relay on it. If you're only using a debit card, this may not work for you because a lot of people, when they're traveling, you don't have a lot of extra money. You got to put a budget together for your travel. But let's talk about this anyway. Whose idea would it be not to have a credit card? I think we mentioned it in the last segment. Traveling isn't always a breeze. Flight delays, flat tires on rental cars, and other travel mishaps can be a source of stress and frustration. As you figure out how to get back on track, your credit card may be a valuable resource. With the right card, you can access benefits like travel insurance, trip delay coverage, and more. Here are a few ways your credit card can help you handle travel complications with ease. Wait out delays in the airport lounge. Delays are often unavoidable, but having a credit card with airport lounge access can make a huge difference in your wait. Not only will you have a peaceful place to wait out the delay, but you'll also have access to amenities like hot food, bigger bathrooms, showers, and office space. Waiting isn't ideal, but spending that time in the airport lounge makes it more comfortable. Get reimbursed for delay or cancellation expenses. Trip delay and cancellation protection can help cover the cost of changes to your trip. You may be able to get reimbursed for your food and hotel stay. Before coverage kicks in, your trip must be delayed by 6 or 12 hours or overnight, depending on your credit card. Getting sick or injured on vacation is not uncommon. If you have to cut your trip short, your credit card can cover the expense of traveling back home and cover any prepaid travel expenses. Finally, if your baggage is delayed and you have to buy new clothes or toiletries, your credit card will reimburse up to a certain amount per day. I have a friend that got hurt on a trip last year. The hospital would not admit her without a $10,000 hold on her credit card. $10,000. Use roadside assistance for rental car issues. Use a concierge to navigate your changing plans. Replace your missing or damaged cell phone. Bottom line, hopefully your travel complications are few and far between. As you're making your next travel plans, use a credit card that offers travel protections like trip delay and interruption insurance. Note that many of these perks tend to be tied to the best credit cards offered to people with the best credit, yet another benefit to raising your FICO score. Hopefully your travel complications are few and far between, but it's reassuring to know your credit card can provide some assistance when you need it. That is Your Credit Matters, brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it's wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has these solutions. Lucas Smith is with us. We're chatting about building wealth through real estate. We've given you a couple of different examples already this morning on building wealth through real estate. You know, it's and part of it is something that I know that Lucas and his team are very, very active in. And it's something that's kind of unique in real estate. So when I hear about people talking about real estate, you know, they go online and they start looking things up. rsrhomescout.com, great tool. No advertising, no commitment, no gimmicks. Not going to sell your information to anybody. rsrhomescout.com. Find out what your house is worth. Find out what, go shopping anywhere in the country. It's all right there. One of the great tools available. And many people will start their search right there online. Now, I'm a big believer. You start your search with financing. Do you have the cash available, or do you need to get cash help with financing? Okay, there's where you start. That's done with a consultation. You don't just go in and say, okay, I need a loan, boom, done.
Wait, stop. A consultation with the proper person who can give you the right advice.
Yeah.
Too many people go in and talk to their local bank loan officer who was a teller last week.
And my son was one of them. I love him dearly.
But
Right.
still, they're not the caliber of person that Ron is.
Right. So you want to get great advice. It's great teaming. We're getting to the team concept. So you get that financing in order. But one of the things that Lucas and his team does, and I love this, is a consultation in a professional setting, right? It's not done, you know, whatever, right? It's a professional.
We're not doing it at the Starbucks with the table by the barista where she's yelling out orders over our head, because that's hard to hear. And we're talking about a house.
Which is a lot of money.
A lot of money.
It's a castle. It's
Man.
regardless of whether it's a $200,000 castle or a $2 million castle, it's your castle.
Whatever it is, I'm spending all my money on it. So I want to know what I'm getting.
Right. So you start off with that consultation. The consultation is to develop a short and long-term plan.
Yeah.
Right. You want to know.
And you want to interview the person that you're planning on working with and allow them to interview you so you can make sure you're a good fit and you want to work together.
Sure. Right.
Right?
I mean, if somebody doesn't like bald, fat guys, you know, I might not be the right one. But I do have a loan partner, Sean. She's great.
She is great. I'll give it. Sean is amazing.
Right. So the bottom line here is that you want to have the right partner. But you know something? I'm going to take it one step further because this hits real near and dear to me lately. So if you're working with a team of people, now you work with your amazing wife.
I do. I'm blessed.
And a team of people.
Yes, we have a team of amazing, incredible agents and support staff.
And I work with a team of people. Now, you know, I watched this morning. I turned on the news very early in the morning. And
Don't do that.
This morning I saw that there was a Balboa Park, I think it is. So I think it was Balboa Park, not Balboa Island, not San Diego, but Balboa Park. There was an accident, and it was a fatal car accident. I don't believe anybody woke up this morning saying, I think I'm going to have a fatal car accident.
Nope.
Right? It happens.
Unfortunately.
Right? If you're working with a team of people and the unfortunate, the unexpected happens, you're still needing your help. You're still in the middle of this castle transaction. Right? The bottom line is, you know, if you're in the middle of an escrow and, you know, you've already released your contingencies and now something comes up and something happens to the agent and there's no part of their team that knows what's going on, you're in trouble.
Oh, big trouble.
Right?
Tens of thousands of dollars of trouble.
I don't want to get morbid, but the bottom line is know who you're working with, know the team.
Even if you're not morbid, right? We've had instances where a buyer, you know, right before close, something happened, their company shut down, they lost their job.
Sure.
Right. And their full contingency release, they've got, you know, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 on the line. With an average agent working for them, they would have said, I'm sorry, Mr. Buyer, you have to write that off.
Right.
That's not how it works at our team, right? We're going to go and we're going to fight for your money and we're going to fight to get it back for you.
And you know, if you've got a agent on the other side that's got a heart, you're going to get it back. But not if you don't try. Not if you don't have. Here's the issue. And yes, I do have a real estate license. I am not qualified to use it. Right. I haven't done all the trainings and everything else that's needed. But the last time I heard, there's like 37 different ways that a good agent can get out of a contract.
Yep.
Right. And some of them are very, very obvious. Some of them are not so obvious, right?
Right.
But a good experienced agent knows where these loopholes are.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They know where to look for the push spots.
Right. So the bottom line here is don't, you're using your best friend's dog walker who got a real estate license because they were listening to their AirPod while they were walking the dog.
Right.
Right.
Don't do that.
That's not the experienced agent. I've had the good fortune for the last few weeks of going in and sitting on some of the team meetings over at Lucas's office. And I'm not blowing smoke because he's here. I don't have to. Right. But I listen to the training that goes on, the mentoring that Lucas and Maricela give the agents. Right.
We train professionals, Ron.
Right. It's mentoring. I think that my personal opinion, every realtor should have to go through a mentorship. I mean, you have 18 months to get a license to cut hair. They can't even find mine in 18 months. Right. But you have 90 days to get a real estate license.
Yep.
Right. And if you can fog them and the stuff that they're going to teach you on that license, I'm going to tell you, you never ever use. Right. I forgot it the day I walked out of the class.
Let's just say the bar to introduction to getting into real estate is very, very low. The bar to being successful in serving people in real estate is extremely high.
Absolutely. Big difference.
Huge difference.
And to me, I think, you've got a doctor as a residency. Let's think about this. I had this conversation with somebody just the other day, Lucas. I said, your cardiologist, right? Do you want to go and find the absolute cheapest cardiologist and just, bargain with that person? Or do you want to find the best?
Every professional at the highest level has an internship.
But think about this. The cardiologist is dealing with one of the most important parts of your health.
Yep.
Right. In real estate is probably just as important from a financial standpoint.
Oh yeah.
Right. Because, you've got your 401k, which may or may not have anything in it. Right. I mean, a lot of people borrow from it. They put minimal amount in it. I'm going to suggest, because of my background, I don't believe in a 401k. I think there's better tools out there for you. If you want to know more about it, listen tomorrow. But the real estate is massive. I mean, $200,000, median home price in Orange County, $1,067,000.
So simple connection here, because we talked about investment in real estate for wealth building, right? Using the right professional can guide you to purchase the home in the right area that's going to maximize that potential for wealth building. Not just buy the house because we buy emotionally, that triggers you emotionally,
right?
But buys a house that triggers you emotionally, that's the best financial investment for you.
But yeah, you want to get it right.
Yeah.
And how do you give yourself the most opportunity to get it right? Well, you have a good team, and I call it the household board of directors, right? Apple has a board of directors. Microsoft has a board of directors. Berkshire Hathaway has a board of directors. They all have a board of directors. Why don't you have that for your house? We had on the first of the month, we had Alton Moore, CPA and estate planning attorney. We have realtor. We have lender. We have insurance people. We have, you name it. You've got to have all these people that are working together. Tomorrow, like I said, Todd Halterman, financial planner, right? All these folks working together for you. That's why we started doing this show in 2010, is to help educate. And, I'm just as passionate about that educational philosophy today, nearly 13 years later, as I was in 2010 when we did our first show. The only difference, less hair, and my hands don't shake. I'm not quite as nervous doing the show. You can reach me anytime, though, as I ask all the time, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean for engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.